In a world that never sleeps, when K-pop stars like BTS's Jungkook are only considered entertainment machines without pause, this news struck like lightning in broad daylight. The world was rocked by a leaked one-liner from an internal big hit entertainment staffer, one that immediately sparked wild speculation, cries from fans, and even anger from a number of parties in the South Korean entertainment industry. After completing his military service next month, Jungkook will not be returning to the stage anytime soon. He will rest. He wants to go home. He wants to be a son, grandson, brother, not an idol. That's not a rumor. It is a reality that is now shaking the foundations of the greatest fandom in the world. More than a decade at the forefront of fame, Jungkook, known as BTS's Golden Magne, suddenly chose to step back, at least temporarily. And the reason behind this is not a solo project, not an internal conflict, and not even the planning of a new global career. No, that reason is much more personal, much more humane, and for some, more painful. It's all because of this. Yes, two words that sound trivial but save the family drama that has been buried tightly by Jungkook. What is this one? Why did those two words become the turning point for Jungkook's decision, who has been known to be loyal to the stage, hard work, and his fans? Behind the glare of the lights, behind the body sculpted by years of practice and the sound that accompanies millions of broken hearts around the world, it turns out that a wound is hidden. Old wounds. Family wounds. And now, when the time for discharge from the draft has almost come, the wound can no longer be avoided. I just want to go home. I want to hang out with him before it's too late. The words, according to a close relative, were said by Jungkook when he submitted a request for rest to his agency. She reportedly turned down a number of multi-billion-won advertising contracts, including exclusive offers from international fashion brands and music collaborations with top American artists. All that he refused because this is it. But what exactly is meant by la ini? This is where the story gets darker, deeper, and more unpredictable. Because the two words, it turns out, are gestures. Symbol. John's internal family code has never been published. Some sources from Jungkook's hometown of Busan say that la ini is a secret term used only in his family, a code to remind each other that it's time to go home before it's all over. Some say the word is related to the health condition of the grandmother, who has been considered a second mother figure for Jungkook. There are also rumors that Jungkook's extended family is facing an inheritance dispute that could divide their flesh and blood. But some hardcore fans, who have long studied the pattern of this idol's life, obsessively believe that this is the last call. An emotional alarm that will only be sounded in an emergency. And that emergency is now forcing Jungkook to quit, to go home, to be an ordinary human being. What will happen next? How did the army react? Will this decision trigger a new conflict between Jungkook and HYB? Is this a signal that Jungkook will never return to BTS or even to the entertainment world at all? This article will explore all the possibilities, rumors, hidden facts, as well as exclusive confessions from those closest to Jungkook. We've spoken to his former childhood teacher, a neighbor in Busan, to an intern at HYB who claims to have heard Jungkook cry in the company hallway at night. We will also uncover internal documents that have never been published, dive into the personal meaning of this is it, and put together puzzle pieces that have been scattered in silence. From the outside, Jungkook's life seemed perfect. Glorious career, global popularity, wealth that surpassed anything an ordinary young man of his age could imagine. But if we trace back to Busan, the place where this story is rooted, we will see something that has never been covered in the media, something that Jungkook himself did not even talk about. An invisible gap in John's family that has been covered by the smiles of the cameras and his humility on stage. These are not just two meaningless words. The word, according to a close relative who chose to remain anonymous, is a code coined by her grandmother, John Sukja, as their family faced one of the darkest crises of the past 10 years. At that time, Jungkook's father reportedly almost lost all of his family's assets due to an investment scam by one of their own relatives. The situation worsened as internal conflicts escalated to the point of separating the two major branches of the family, Jungkook's father's family and his brothers, with the cousins now living in Incheon. This is a word that is only spoken if everything is on the verge of collapse, said the source with a trembling voice. Jungkook's grandfather used to call all family members home to the dinner table so as not to disperse. The word is full of symbols. When you hear it, you know Your time is running out to fix everything. After news of Jungkook's impending retirement from the military spread, the media began digging deeper. Several local reporters in Busan managed to find Jungkook's former childhood home, which is now empty and weathered. There, another surprising fact is revealed: old letters written by Jungkook to his grandmother. In one of the scribbled letters of the trembling hands typical of teenagers, it was written, "Halmiani, if one day I can go home, I want us all to sit at the dinner table like we used to. I know I went too far and too long, but I haven't forgotten this." I still remember the meaning of that word. The letter, found in a dusty old drawer, confirmed that Jungkook's decision was not sudden. This is an old promise. A promise he made to himself and to his family years ago. But why is he keeping it now? Chapter 3: Conscription, Tears, and the letter that never got sent. During his military service, Jungkook reportedly experienced a moment of deep introspection. A fellow soldier friend with whom he shared a platoon leaked to the alternative media that Jungkook was often seen aloof at night, writing things down in his notebook. Some say it's song lyrics, but there are those who believe it is a diary full of reflections, including the heart's content about guilt towards his family. He said to me, "I don't know when was the last time I was really there for them," the source said. When his father was sick, he went on tour. The time her grandmother fell in the bathroom, she was filming a commercial. She didn't even get to see her beloved uncle at the funeral because of her schedule in America. He said he could no longer stand to be the idol that the world loved but failed as a child from his own home. That's not a light statement. Behind the global spotlight, Jungkook turned out to carry a much heavier personal burden than the stadium stage. And during the draft, when all the lights went out, when all the cameras stopped, and he just became a man in a regular uniform for the first time in a decade, Jungkook could hear his own inner voice. There, the word "la aini" came back to haunt him. Several legal documents leaked to the media show that John's family is facing legal proceedings related to the division of land inheritance in an area outside Busan. The land, which is estimated to be worth more than 3 billion won, has become a point of conflict between several extended family members, including Jungkook's uncles and cousins, who feel they are not getting their rights fairly. According to a reliable source who works at a local law firm, Jungkook's name was never included in the distribution documents because he openly refused to get involved. But the pressure on him is enormous, not only because he is considered the most successful public figure in the family, but also because the only grandson still has emotional closeness with the grandmother. He's the only one who can still put it all together, the source said. And they know that. So they urged him to attend, to talk, to be a mediator. But time goes on, and the grandmother is sick. John Suk-ja, the central figure in Jungkook's life, is now reported to be suffering from dementia and deteriorating physical condition.